Matthew Costa steps gingerly into a little pocket wetland near the Del Mar Fairgrounds.
So just watch out for, I don't think it's very likely, but watch out for bird nests.
Endangered ridgeway rails like hiding in the pickleweed that covers the soft, moist ground between the train tracks and Camino del Mar. Costa is a postdoctoral researcher at the Scripps Institution of Oceanography.
I think this is a good spot. It's 15 meters.
He's here to help unlock information about this salty marsh, information that can't be seen by the thousands of people who pass by each day.
We've got all these plants here. Underneath, there's a sort of a really muddy layer of sediment. And it's home to a lot of organisms too. There's lots of snails and other creatures living on the mud.
Costa uncrates his tools and pulls out a long silver tube with a wide fin on one side. It looks a bit like a stubby sword. He places it upright and leans in, pushing it into the ground. And then he uses a slide hammer to help him sink that tube even deeper. Once it's completely seated in the soft, wet dirt, Costa gently pulls the tube back out of the ground. A quick twist reveals the core sample, roughly 7 centimeters across and 48 centimeters long.
So there is our sediment sample. And like I said, when I talk about how this is sort of like a time machine, we're looking down in the sediment, we're kind of looking back in time. So this sediment accumulated maybe hundreds of years ago and built up over time to where we have the plants living today.
Costa pulls samples, labels them, and in a lab he hopes to find out how much carbon is stored there.
It's an effort to try and catalog the amount of blue carbon that's currently stored in our San Diego coastal wetlands and ecosystems.
Corey Puccini is the California Conservation Manager at Wild Coast. He says the plants in the salt marsh grow fast, sucking in a lot of carbon dioxide. Some of that carbon gets trapped as the plants die and new ones grow over them. Unfortunately, Puccini says 90% of the region's coastal wetlands have been swallowed up by urbanization or dredged for recreation, but pockets persist.
So as you see behind me, there's a lot of these opportunity parcels that we like to call them, these orphaned wetlands that are in and around a lot of the currently existing wetlands in San Diego County that have the potential to be restored to enhance their capabilities to draw that carbon out of the atmosphere.
Costa's research will give conservationists a better idea of how efficient the salt marsh terrain is at storing carbon.
And seeing if we can ecologically enhance them to create this ecological uplift so that we can sequester more carbon using these natural solutions to draw carbon out of the atmosphere.
Doing that could help slow the pace of global warming, because carbon in the atmosphere is responsible for a warmer climate.
So we're looking at areas like Bataquitos Lagoon up in Carlsbad, the Kendall Frost Marsh in Mission Bay, here at San Diego Lagoon, Famosa Slough, and a number of our other coastal wetlands here throughout the region.
Wild Coast's Zach Plopper says this research will help them understand more about the ecosystems and habitats that are in the nearshore area.
With understanding how much carbon is stored in our local wetlands is really make San Diego County a leader on natural climate solutions.
Plopper says blue carbon refers to habitats near the ocean that are particularly good at capturing and storing carbon.
The salt marsh and seagrass here that we have in San Diego County are these blue carbon ecosystems. They sequester and store more atmospheric carbon than any other ecosystem on the planet,
which makes them both a hedge against global warming and a buffer against rising sea levels. That's why Scripps researcher Matthew Costa is interested in measuring the impact the habitat has already had. He hopes mapping out the terrain's past will help gauge the salt marsh's ecological value in the future. Erik Anderson, KPBS News.